My mom framed me for a crime I didn't commit just to go viral on TikTok. The first time I saw the video of myself stealing, it already had millions. I was sitting on a hard plastic chair inside a tiny station office holding my phone carefully. One bored officer was beside me, scrolling his own feed like this was just background noise. On my screen, I watched myself in a bright supermarket aisle, slipping something into my tote bag slowly. The caption under the video said, "Caught my own daughter stealing. Please, parents, talk to your kids today." The username at the top was my mom's account, the one she loved more than sleep. The top comment said, "You raised a thief and now you are begging for sympathy publicly." I kept scrolling through the comments, even though my chest felt heavy and my hands shook badly. My mom always used to say that any publicity could be useful if you were smart. Sitting there in that tiny room, I finally understood she actually meant it literally, including this horrible mess. Let me go back a bit so this whole thing actually makes sense for real. My name is Riley, and I am 19 years old and very tired inside already. I live in a small city with my mom, Marissa, in a cramped two-bedroom apartment. The place always smells like cheap cooking oil, old wing lights, and reheated takeout food. She calls herself a content creator and says we are a funny family brand online now. I call her a full-time chaos machine with a tripod and no actual shame left. When I was younger, my mom used to be pretty normal, just loud and stressed. We did not have much money, but life felt simple and still kind of peaceful. Then one afternoon, she posted a random Facebook video of me dancing in our living room. I was in my primary school uniform, sweaty from school, just messing around to a song. The video somehow blew up. People commented how funny and cute I was back then. My mom watched the views climb, and something in her brain basically snapped into overdrive. From there, she got hooked very fast and never really came back to real life. By the time I reached high school, she had TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and 2 different ring lights. Our living room turned into a budget studio with stands, props, and boxes everywhere all week. She filmed absolutely everything, even boring things, and kept saying we were building my future online. Prank on my dramatic mom, extreme budget challenge with my daughter, pretending to surprise her with gifts. Most of it was annoying, but still small stuff, like fake jump scares or staged arguments about dishes. But slowly, the line started moving from silly pranks into straight-up lying and manipulation territory. She would pretend to cry so hard on camera, then start laughing when she finally hit stop. We fought about it many times because I hated being turned into a full-time character. "People think we're starving," I told her once, after some fake crying video about hunger. She just shrugged, checked her views, and asked if I still wanted internet for my phone. By the time I finally got into college, I honestly thought things might calm down slightly. I was studying accounting, nothing exciting, and I dreamed about quiet days and boring homework. My mom saw my admission as a new series instead, like season 2 of our drama. First-gen college student and poverty family, she wrote in one bright thumbnail with emojis surrounding. "Can you not call us a poverty family?" I asked her, feeling embarrassed and annoyed. She smiled like I was joking and said it was just marketing because drama sells everything. "You think these people care if we're actually poor?" she said, still editing another post. Truth is, we really were struggling, but she always pushed it further and made it exaggerated. Around the time everything went out of control, she started hanging out with this guy, Logan. He was not related to us, just some marketing guy who always smelled like heavy perfume. He talked about brand deals, the way people talk about snacks, casual and a little arrogant. He worked with small creators, helped them stage fights, fake cheating stories, and weird pranks for clicks. My mom met him at a local creators meetup and came home buzzing like she drank electricity. "Logan says my content has potential," she told me, pacing around our living room very fast. "He said if I get serious, we could blow up in like 6 months easily." "What does getting serious even mean?" I asked, already feeling worried and annoyed and kind of suspicious. She paused, then gave me the stretched smile and said, "More realness, more emotion, more conflict." I did not like the way she said conflict, like it was a new product line. About a week later, she started filming me without asking, like I was part of the furniture. I would be in my room reading and see the red recording light through the doorway. I would be washing dishes and notice her phone hidden behind the kettle, pointed at my back. Later, she would add sad music over it and captions about being a single struggling mother forever. We argued again and again about consent, privacy, and basic respect, but she just logged everything mentally. "You need my permission," I kept telling her. "This is my actual life, not your movie." She would sometimes go quiet after those conversations, but it felt like she was saving lines for later. The week before the stealing video, we had the worst fight we ever had together. I came home after a long day of classes, sweaty, tired, and ready to just sleep silently. I opened my phone on the couch and saw her new upload sitting at the top. The title said, "My daughter wants to drop out of school and become a stripper now." The thumbnail was a screenshot of me in shorts mid-sentence, talking with my hands raised. I had never said anything about dropping out, stripping, or any of that wild storyline. She took a random disagreement we had about money and twisted it into a shocking clickbait plot. The comments were already insane, with strangers praying for me and others calling me disgusting names. My whole body felt hot and shaky, and I went straight into the living room furious. I shoved the phone in her face and asked what the hell this video even was. Content, she said, not looking away from the app where she was trimming another dramatic fake clip. This is defamation, I told her. You are lying about me to thousands of strangers for likes. It is just exaggeration, she answered. Everybody does it, nobody takes it that seriously these days. I am not everybody, I said. I am your actual kid and not your pretend coworker. For one short second, she looked almost guilty, like she realized she went too far with it. Then she sighed and said, Rayleigh, this is how we eat now, so just calm down. We argued for nearly an hour, circles and repeats, until my head hurt and my eyes stung. At the end, something inside me snapped, and I finally said the thing I was thinking secretly. If you post another lie about me, I told her, I'm moving out completely. You can do your little videos with your ring light alone and nobody else watching. Her eyes changed right away, like she was scared and offended at the exact same time. You want to abandon your mother because of some video? She asked, suddenly talking very quietly. I grabbed my bag, went to my room, locked the door, and cried into my pillow. I tried to stay quiet so the neighbors would not hear anything over their loud television downstairs. 3 days later, she asked me to come with her to the supermarket on Saturday morning. I have a sponsored haul, she said, in that super sweet voice she uses only on camera. They are letting me film inside the store, she added, like it was a huge special favor. I did not want to go, but I also did not want new content calling me ungrateful publicly, so I said yes, even though something fell off, like a tiny rock stuck inside my shoe. That Saturday, we walked into the big supermarket together, her already talking to her phone happily. Hi guys, it is your girl Marissa, she said, doing her usual intro, smiling at the camera. Today I'm taking you shopping with my daughter. Say hi, baby, she added, shoving it over. I forced a small wave and smiled because I knew she would replay this part many times. We moved through the aisles, picking up noodles, oil, tissue, and random snacks we probably did not need. I did not notice any other cameras, just the usual gray domes high up on the ceiling rails. I did not really notice how she kept telling me to stand in certain spots or corners repeatedly. I barely noticed the security guy who kept circling the aisle, pretending to fix already straight biscuit rows. At the time, it just felt like normal supermarket chaos, so I ignored all the small weirdness. Later, when everything exploded, those tiny details came back and hit me like heavy bricks inside. For now, I just followed her around with the cart, tired, annoyed, and counting minutes until we left. We checked out at the register, she paid, still talking to her viewers like we were on television. She even made a little speech about mothers doing everything for their kids and never giving up. I just wanted to go home, eat, and sleep without seeing another ring light for several hours. We were almost at the exit when a security guard stepped in front of me and blocked the way. Ma'am, please come with us for a moment, he said, not even looking at my mom once. At first, I thought he meant her, but then I realized his eyes were fixed on me. What happened? I asked, feeling confused, but he just repeated, please come, we need to check something. People near the door slowed down to stare at us like they smelled drama and wanted free entertainment. My mom put a confused look on her face, or at least what she thought confusion looked like. We followed the guard through a side hallway into a small office at the back of the store. There was a tired-looking fan in the corner, pushing warm air around without really doing anything useful. The manager sat behind a messy desk with papers everywhere and gave us a strange, polite smile. Good afternoon, he said. Please sit down. His voice too calm for how serious everything suddenly felt inside. My heart was beating too fast, even though I still had no idea what this was about, honestly. Is there a problem? My mom asked, her phone still in her hand, camera app open like usual. The manager glanced at her phone, then at me, then at the security guard standing by the door. Yes, he said. We caught your daughter stealing something from our shelves earlier during your little shopping trip. I actually laughed for a second because it sounded ridiculous and completely impossible in my own head. I paid for everything, my mom said quickly, her voice sharper now. You can check your system very easily. Not everything, the manager replied, turning his computer monitor toward us so we could see the video playback. On the screen, security footage showed me in the snack aisle, alone, standing by a lower shelf. The angle was high and slightly tilted, but you could see me pick up a small box slowly. You could see me look around, then slip the box into my tote bag very casually. Watching myself do something I did not remember doing made my stomach twist like it was in knots. I did not do that, I said immediately, too loud, everyone turning to stare like I was lying automatically. It is right there, the manager said. We have to follow procedure. This is a serious situation, unfortunately. My mom gasped loudly, the kind of gasp that sounds rehearsed, and covered her mouth with one hand dramatically. Riley, she whispered, what did you take? Her voice shaking, but her eyes looked strangely bright and focused. Nothing, I said. I did not take anything at all, I swear, feeling my face get hot. The security guard opened my tote bag on the desk and started checking through my things one by one. Inside, between my wallet and a heavy accounting textbook, there was a small box of perfume tucked sideways. The price sticker said $200, which explained why everyone was taking this extremely seriously now. My brain felt like it disconnected for a moment because I knew I never even went there. I have no idea how that got there, I said, my voice shaking, I swear completely. My mom stared at me, her face showing horror and disappointment, but her eyes had a tiny spark. It looked a lot less excitement, like she was already imagining how this would play online for people. Call the police, the manager said to the guard, his voice flat like he had done this before often. And that was how I ended up in that plastic chair, watching my own nightmare as content. Sitting there, seeing my mom's video blowing up, something inside me finally clicked into a different place completely. I opened a quiet chat I had muted months ago and stared at one old man carefully. It was my dad, the man I had not seen in years, the one my mom always cursed. My fingers hovered over the keyboard while my heart pounded because once I texted him, things changed. I did not think my dad would answer quickly, so I just sat there waiting quietly. I typed, "Hi, it is Riley. I think Mom set me up," then kept staring. I left the message unsent for a moment because I felt scared of what might happen afterward. The officer nearby side got up to grab coffee and left his phone on the table screen down. The whole station sounded tired, with phones buzzing sometimes, keyboards clicking lightly, and a TV murmuring news. Finally, I took a breath and hit send, then locked my phone and held it tightly. I told myself he might ignore it, or change his number, or just not care anymore. A few minutes passed, then my phone buzzed, and I felt my shoulders tense without thinking at all. His reply said only, "What did she do this time?" Like he expected chaos from her again. Seeing that sentence made me feel weirdly angry and relieved at the exact same time, honestly. I told him everything in small messages, trying not to cry again because my head already hurt badly. How Mom filmed everything, how she twisted normal arguments, how she started working with Logan recently. I told him about the stripper video, the supermarket, the perfume, and the video already online everywhere. He stopped replying for a while after that big chunk, and I thought maybe I scared him away. Then he texted which station, and I sent the location quietly without asking any questions about anything. Time moved slowly after that, every minute feeling like 3, me picking at my nails nervously. Nobody talked to me, they just walked past carrying papers, laughing about unrelated things, living normal lives easily. About half an hour later, I heard someone say my name near the door in a soft voice. "Riley, is that you?" the voice said, and when I looked up, my dad was standing there. He looked older than I remembered, more gray in his hair, tired around the eyes, but still familiar. I stood up too quickly and almost tripped over the chair legs, catching myself on the nearby desk. The officer at the corner desk looked up slowly, like he was watching some random drama, live for free. "Good evening, sir," my dad said to him, trying to stay calm. "Can someone explain what happened here?" The officer explained like it was just another case. "Your daughter was caught stealing perfume from a supermarket. There's video evidence and a complaint from the manager," he added, pointing toward the small screen carelessly. "Can I see the video?" my dad asked, sounding tired but also like he knew this routine already. They showed him the same footage I saw before, the one with me in the snack aisle alone. He watched without saying anything, his eyes moving slowly, his jaw tight, his hand resting on the table. Then he asked them to replay it, but this time he moved closer, squinting at the corner carefully. "Can you pause when she reaches for the shelf again?" he asked, tapping the side of the screen. The officer looked annoyed but did it anyway, dragging the mouse to the exact frame with my hand out. "Now slowly play that part," my dad said, and I watched myself reach out in slow motion painfully. In the corner of the frame, barely there, a shape moved, like a shoulder or a bag edge shifting. The item in my hand did not really match the angle of the shelf, which looked strange and wrong. It almost looked like something slid into my hand from the side, just outside the camera's main view. "Is there another camera covering this aisle from a different angle?" my dad asked, still staring at the footage. The officer shrugged and said the store only brought this clip and the written complaint from the manager. "If you have questions, talk to them," he added, sounding like he wanted this off his plate quickly. My dad looked at me, then at the screen again, and I could tell he did not believe the tape. He turned back to the officer and asked if I could go home for now while things got sorted. "For now she can go," the officer said, "but the case stays open and we might call again." Outside the building, the air felt heavy, and cars passed by slowly, headlights sweeping across our faces silently. My dad walked beside me toward the street, hands in his pockets, quiet for a few long seconds. "Where is your mother now?" he finally asked, not looking at me, just staring at the traffic steadily. "Probably at home refreshing TikTok and reading comments," I said, my voice flat, staring at the sidewalk cracks. "You think she really arranged this?" he asked, sounding like he already knew the answer but wanted confirmation. "Yes," I said, "and I think Logan helped somehow because this feels too planned and specific." I told him about the way she talked after meeting Logan, about getting serious, about conflict and drama. I told him how she started filming everything secretly, how she twisted normal arguments into fake tragedies for strangers. He listened without interrupting, just nodding sometimes, his face getting tighter, like he was putting pieces together again. When I finished, he cursed softly under his breath and said he always knew she would cross lines eventually. We stopped at a small diner around the corner, and he asked if I had eaten anything yet today. I realized I had not eaten since morning, so we went inside and sat in a booth quietly. He ordered food for both of us, nothing fancy, just rice bowls and soda while I rubbed my eyes. The place smelled like grease and coffee, and low music played from a cheap speaker near the counter. Once the server left, my dad leaned back and looked at me properly for the first time that day. "I'm not going to pretend I was a great father," he said, talking slowly, choosing each word carefully. "But I know your mother," he continued, "and I know she likes sympathy more than actual peace, usually. She used to start fights with me and then act broken so everyone would comfort only her." He told me about old arguments where she twisted small mistakes into big betrayals just to get back up. "She once accused me of cheating with her cousin," he said, shaking his head, even though it never happened. "She wanted her family to support her, and accusing me made them hand her everything she wanted quickly. I picked up my fork while he talked because I honestly did not know how to respond to anything. I had grown up hearing only her version, where he was the villain and she was always the victim." "Are you saying she never lied about you?" I asked, feeling confused because my brain hated switching sides. He sighed and said he made mistakes, that he was not perfect, but some stories were totally invented by her. The server brought our food, and we both stayed quiet for a while, eating like we were exhausted. After a few bites, my dad wiped his mouth and said he wanted to check something on his phone. "Your mom blocked me everywhere," he said, "but years ago we used to run a small page together." He opened Instagram and scrolled through his accounts, switching until he reached one with an old business name. "She never remembered this login exists," he said, "because she thinks I forgot the password and lost access completely." He tapped through a few menus, went to messages, and then I saw her username at the top of the list. She had not blocked that old account, maybe because she forgot it existed or thought nobody checked there anymore. He opened the chat, and I saw recent messages between her and a username I recognized from her stories earlier. "Logan Creative," the handle said, with a logo as the profile picture, the same guy from before. My dad did not scroll right away. He just glanced at me and asked if I was ready to see this honestly. I nodded, even though my stomach felt weird, because I already knew nothing good was hiding there. The first recent message was from Logan, saying, "Tomorrow we need strong reactions, make sure security is relaxed somehow." My mom replied, "Manager already knows we might stage something. He thinks it is a shoplifting awareness idea." Another message from her said, "This will push everything. After that, we can do forgiveness content and rebuild slowly." None of the messages literally said, "Let us frame Riley," but the pieces were pretty clear and disgusting. My dad took screenshots quietly, making sure the timestamp showed it was all from the past few days clearly. He also scrolled further up, and we saw older messages where Logan pitched other pranks that sounded dangerous and humiliating. There was one idea about fake arrest content, another about making me cry on camera, and then surprising me. My mom replied to that one with laughing emojis and said, "She cries easily. This will definitely bang online." Seeing my mom talk about me like some tool made my chest feel tight and my face burn. I pushed my plate away and leaned on the table, trying not to start sobbing in the diner, sadly. My dad lowered the phone and asked if I wanted to go home or confront her immediately about everything. I said I did not want to walk in alone and hear her twist everything again for sympathy. He nodded and said we needed to plan, not just storm in and turn into another episode. "If we go now," he said, "she will switch on live and act confused and broken again. She will say I came to attack her, and people will believe the first version they see appearing. We need proof and a way to talk without her controlling the narrative completely," he added thoughtfully. "How do you take control from someone who lives online?" I asked, feeling small but also strangely angry inside. "You tell the truth before she can rename it," he said, "and you stop playing along as her storyline." On the way out of the diner, he called someone from his contacts, another small creator he used to know. He asked if they still worked with Logan and if they had heard any weird ideas involving supermarkets lately. The person on the phone sounded nervous, but admitted Logan bragged about a big collab with a single mom recently. He said Logan mentioned fake shoplifting awareness content that would feel real enough to make people argue heavily. My dad thanked them and hung up, then turned to me and said this was enough to confront her. We got into a rideshare headed toward my apartment, my stomach turning, my hands pressed together tightly on my lap. On the way, my dad pulled up my mom's page again, and we saw she had started another live stream already. The title said, "My daughter is at the station, please pray for us," with crying emojis and sad music playing faintly. Comments were flying across the screen, people sending gifs, typing long prayers, and some blaming me without context. I watched for a minute, my own face showing in an earlier clip she replayed while talking to viewers. I felt like I was watching my life from outside, like I had been turned into a character completely. When we reached the building, my dad looked at me and said he would talk first while I watched carefully. I nodded, wiped my face, and followed him up the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last, honestly. We got to the door, and without knocking, my dad opened it with the spare key calmly. My mom was on the couch, ring light on, phone propped up, fake tears already shining on her face dramatically. She was telling her viewers that she did not understand where she went wrong raising such a broken child. When she saw my dad step inside, her expression switched from sad to angry so fast it almost looked rehearsed. "Adrian, what are you doing here?" she snapped, forgetting she was live for a second, voice sharpening immediately. The comments exploded on the screen, people typing, "Is that the father?" and "This is getting serious so fast." My dad did not walk closer to the phone yet. He just stood near the entrance and looked around. "Riley, come inside," he said softly, and I stepped into frame by accident, my face still puffy from crying earlier. My mom's eyes landed on me, then on him, then on the phone, and I saw gears turning quickly. "Oh, look," she said to the viewers, "my ex decided to show up now that our lives are in pieces." She sniffed dramatically and started telling the chat that he abandoned us years ago and never helped financially. My dad let her talk for a few seconds, then walked over and calmly picked up the phone from the stand. "Hey everyone," he said into the camera. "My name is Adrian, and I am Riley's father, actually." My mom lunged forward to grab the phone back, but he stepped away, keeping it out of reach steadily. "Give me my phone," Marissa said. "This is my live. You do not get to hijack everything today." "You wanted content," he replied, still speaking into the camera, "so let us tell them the full story clearly." He opened his photo gallery with one hand, keeping the live running, and pulled up the screenshots from earlier. "These are messages between Marissa and Logan from the past few days," he said, showing the screen to everyone watching closely. He read some of them out loud, the ones about strong reactions, relaxed security, and talking to the manager beforehand. My mom kept talking over him, saying he faked everything, saying he always tried to ruin her progress online. Some viewers believed her instantly, others typed, show the timestamps, and some just sent laughing emojis like this was entertainment again. My dad zoomed in on the dates and usernames, showing her handle clearly, the same one streaming right now. He scrolled further, reading the message where she mentioned forgiveness content, saying people love redemption arcs after big drama. One comment popped up saying, "This looks real." Another said, "This whole family is cook. I cannot even lie anymore." "You are lying," Marissa shouted, trying to grab the phone again. "You edited those. You always wanted to destroy me." "If I was lying," my dad said, "why would Logan be bragging about a fake shoplifting project to other creators?" He mentioned that, and I saw my mom freeze for half a second, like she did not expect that detail appearing. She recovered quickly and said those people were jealous, that everyone wanted to drag her down because she succeeded. I finally spoke up, stepping closer so the viewers could see my face clearly, even though my hands were shaking hard. "You told the school you did everything alone," I said, "but used me for sympathy and money instead. You filmed me without permission, lied about me, and now you let strangers think I am a criminal, honestly." For a moment, my mom actually looked at me, not the screen, eyes shiny, but not from real sadness. "You think I enjoy this," she said, voice softer. "You think I want people calling my daughter a thief constantly." "Then stop," I said, feeling exhausted. "Stop using me. Stop twisting things. Stop turning everything into a storyline for them." She opened her mouth and closed it again, and I could see her trying to rewrite the situation in real time mentally. "This could be a lesson," she said finally, "for other kids about consequences. We could spin it that way too." My dad laughed once, not kindly, and said, "You planned a fake crime with our child as the villain, Marissa. You tried to make money off her being humiliated," he continued, "and you did not even think about real charges." He ended the live stream without warning, the screen going dark, notifications still popping up as people reacted outside. He set the phone on the table and told her he had recorded everything from the moment we walked in completely. My mom looked shaken now, not like during her usual performances, more like she finally realized she might lose something big. "You cannot take me to court," she said, voice quieter. "I am her mother. They will say I was desperate." "I am not thinking about court first," my dad answered. "I am thinking about Riley and what she wants here." He turned to me and asked if I felt safe staying with her after everything she had done honestly. I thought about the videos, the comments, the way she stared at the screen more than my actual face. I thought about the supermarket footage, the perfume I never touched, the way she threw me under the bus publicly. I thought about how she responded when I said I would leave, like I hurt her reputation more than anything. I did not feel safe, I said, my voice small but steady. I want to leave and live somewhere else. My mom stared at me like I had hit her, then laughed, but it sounded thin and nervous instead. Leave to where, she asked, his tiny place with his new wife. You think that life is better somehow. Yes, my dad said. It is small, but nobody is filming the kids while they sleep or cry there. My mom rolled her eyes and muttered that his place was basically a shoebox, that I would come running back eventually. She added quietly, this live already paid for my new phone, like that made everything balanced somehow in her mind. That line hurt more than half the shouting because it showed what really mattered to her at the end. I went to my room and started packing my clothes into a small suitcase, my hands shaking a little. I took my school documents, some notebooks, my charger, and a few personal things, leaving anything related to filming behind. I stared at the ring light leaning in the corner and decided to leave it there like a dead plant. When I came back to the living room, my mom was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone silently. You will come back, she said without looking up. The internet forgets, but I am still your mother forever. I did not answer because I did not trust myself to speak without saying something I might regret later. My dad carried my suitcase and we left the apartment, walking down the hallway that had been home for years. In the car, I opened TikTok again, even though I knew it would hurt, because curiosity won easily. Clips from the live had already been reposted by random accounts, chopped up, captioned, and shared like some TV show. Some people said my mom was evil, others said we all faked everything for views, some just laughed loudly. One comment said, this family is messy, but I cannot stop watching, which honestly made me feel sick inside. At my dad's apartment, things were loud and cramped, but strangely peaceful, with kids arguing about cartoons instead of views. His wife watched me carefully at first, polite but distant, probably wondering if I was bringing drama into their home. She showed me the small room I would share with the younger kids, with a bunk bed and posters on the wall everywhere. It was not fancy, but it felt real, because nobody asked me to perform or cry or act grateful. For a while, I thought that was the end of the whole story, just me rebuilding quietly somewhere else now. Then about a month later, I got an email from my college, and my stomach did a slow, uncomfortable flip again. The subject line said, conduct concern, and inside they wrote that someone had sent them a video about me anonymously. The email said, we received material alleging involvement in theft. Please clarify the situation so we can review everything calmly. Attached was my mom's first supermarket video, the one before the confrontation, where she cried and called me a thief dramatically. I sat in the small community computer lab, staring at the screen, hands cold, feeling anger pushed through the fear slowly. My dad came to stand behind me, reading the email, letting out a long breath when he reached the attachment completely. She is still using you, he said, now off camera, still trying to control your life wherever she can reach. We can send them everything, the screenshots, the recordings, the context, he added, already reaching for his phone again. We will, I said, but I also want them to hear my version straight from me directly. That night, after everyone slept, I opened a blank document and started writing the whole story from the beginning, honestly. I wrote about the early videos, the lies, the supermarket, the station, the live stream, and moving out afterwards. I wrote how it feels when your own parent loves attention more than your actual safety or reputation anywhere. I did not add dramatic lines, just simple facts and feelings like I was talking to one honest friend. When I finished, I posted it on a small blogging site under my real name, no fake title necessary. I sent the link to the school along with the screenshots and recordings, and then I left my desk quietly. I thought maybe a few people would read it, maybe someone would roll their eyes, maybe nothing else would happen, honestly. 2 weeks later, a journalism student found it and turned it into a long thread asking questions about family content online. Then a small podcast invited other kids of influencers to talk about being filmed without consent for years. Then a news site wrote an article about children and family channels and how their privacy gets ignored constantly. People started using my story as an example, not of drama, but of something bigger and actually important, finally. Some called me brave, which felt strange, because most days I still felt scared and messy and confused inside. My mom tried to come back with another video saying we all betrayed her and twisted everything to look bad. Some followers believed her, others said they were tired, brands quietly stopped working with her, and views dropped slowly. Meanwhile, I started getting messages from other kids who grew up on camera, telling me their own horror stories privately. They talked about forced pranks, secret recordings, punishments off camera when they refused to smile, all to keep audiences entertained. We made a group chat and called it off camera, where we shared screenshots, comforted each other, and made jokes sometimes. We were not activists with big plans, just a bunch of people who were tired of being someone else's storyline forever. Sometimes people still recognize me from the old clips and whisper, "That is the girl who stole perfume that time." Sometimes I correct them and explain. Sometimes I just walk away because I do not owe strangers everything anymore. I know the real story, and now other people do too, and that matters more than one label. People say the internet never forgets, but they forget we can answer back, even years later sometimes. Even if your own mother turns you into content, you can still decide to walk away and speak. Even if millions saw a version of you that was twisted, you can still tell the truth slowly.
It will not fix everything, but it gives you your voice back, and that is something valuable.
My boyfriend proposed to someone else while living with me. Liam and I lived in a small one-bedroom apartment that always felt too cramped, even when we cleaned everything and tried making it like a real home. The couch sagged in the middle from how often we sat in the same spots, and the small coffee table shook anytime someone bumped it by accident. It was not the worst place, but it felt worn down the way rental places always do when too many people lived there before you and stopped caring long before the lease ended. Most nights, we ate instant noodles or reheated leftovers while watching shows on my old laptop that constantly overheated and sounded like it was begging for retirement. Back then, I thought routine meant stability, and I assumed that if nothing bad was happening, then everything must be fine. Liam always talked about the future like it was a place we were guaranteed to get to, and he would sit beside me showing pictures of huge houses, expensive kitchens, and furniture that cost more than 3 months of our rent. He asked what colors I would paint the walls or what couch I would pick if we ever had real money, and I usually answered quickly just to get the conversation over with because sometimes it felt like he already lived in that imaginary life while I was stuck in the one we actually had. Around that time, I started searching for a second job because I was tired of feeling like we were barely keeping up, and I did not want us to fall behind on bills or feel scared every time something sudden went wrong. After applying to a bunch of places, I got a part-time job at a bakery near our apartment. The owner was an older woman everybody called Auntie Rose, even though we're not related to her at all, and she treated that place like her second home and all of us like nieces. When I told Liam about the job, he barely reacted and just said, "Good, we need the extra income." And even though the response felt cold, I ignored it because I was exhausted and did not want to turn it into something bigger. A few weeks after I started working both jobs, small things began changing with him, and at first they were easy to brush off because nothing was obvious enough to call suspicious on its own. He started dressing nicer for work, even on random days, and one afternoon he came home with a new shirt that cost way more than anything we normally bought. When I asked how he could afford it, he smiled too fast and said, "I got a bonus at work, do not worry about it." But he did not explain what the bonus was for, and something about the answer felt rehearsed. He also started coming home later than usual, and whenever I asked why, he just said, "Meetings? Things are shifting at work, it is nothing to worry about." I tried believing him because it was easier than overthinking every small detail, and I did not want to create problems where there might not be any. But after a while, the feeling that something was off became harder to ignore because his behavior no longer matched his explanations, and it felt like there was a whole part of his life I was not included in anymore. One night, I was sitting on my laptop finishing bakery paperwork and looking for extra shifts because we needed the money. Then I noticed his account was still logged into the browser from when he used my laptop months ago for a Zoom interview. Normally, I would not have cared, but with the way he had been acting lately, it made me curious in a way that did not feel comfortable. I told myself I was only checking because I wanted peace of mind, but when I opened the History tab, the very first link at the top stopped me before I even fully processed what I was seeing. It was a wedding planning website, and under the title was his full name next to a woman named Amelia, with a last name I recognized from expensive buildings and real estate signs around the city. My fingers shook a little, but I clicked the link because pretending I did not see it would not make anything better, and I needed to understand what I was looking at. The page loaded and the top banner said, "Welcome to the wedding of Liam and Amelia," written in gold lettering over a picture of a rooftop covered in roses, candles, and champagne glasses. There were tabs labeled proposal photos, guest list, budget tracker, and venue information, and everything looked active and updated, not like something someone clicked once for fun. The date on the upload was recent, and everything inside me felt heavy because the timing matched perfectly with the nights he said he was working late. I sat there staring at the screen while trying to breathe normally because none of it felt real, and at the same time, everything suddenly made a lot of sense. My throat felt tight, and for a full minute I just stared because my brain could not make sense of how someone could live two lives this deep without slipping. I heard him walking down the hallway, so I exited the website fast and opened a blank document while trying to breathe normally so he would not hear the panic in my voice. He leaned on the doorframe and asked, "Doing okay?" in a tone so casual it felt unreal considering what I had just seen. I forced myself to nod and said, "Yeah, just working on bakery paperwork," and he walked away without noticing anything strange in my expression. That night, I barely slept because every time I closed my eyes, I saw that rooftop proposal picture, and I finally realized I needed more proof before confronting him because people who lie that confidently usually twist the truth until you doubt yourself. I woke up early the next morning because my mind would not shut up, and every time I tried closing my eyes, I saw that rooftop and that ring and that picture of him kneeling like he loved someone else while living in my apartment and sleeping in my bed. He was still asleep beside me with his arm across my waist like nothing in the world was wrong, and for a moment I just stared at him because it felt strange knowing a secret he did not realize I had. My phone buzzed with a reminder to get ready for my bakery shift, so I slowly moved his arm away and got up, but he stayed asleep like he had not given someone else a ring in a future. At the bakery, everything smelled like warm bread and sugar, and the routine helped calm my brain a little because the normal sounds and tasks gave me something to focus on that was not him. While I was wiping the display case, Auntie Rose asked if everything was okay because I looked tired, and I said, "Yeah, long night." My laptop kept freezing, and she nodded like she believed me. She was holding a paper in her hand with this excited look on her face and told us we had landed a huge order for a very wealthy family that could help the bakery a lot. She spread the order sheet on the counter so we could all see it clearly, and started explaining the flavors and the theme and the decorations while my eyes slowly moved to the bold text at the top of the page. It said engagement party for Amelia with that same rich family surname, and Liam with the exact same full name that sat on the wedding site I had seen on his laptop, and my body reacted before my brain caught up. At first I laughed in this weird automatic way and said, "That is funny, my boyfriend has the same name," like my brain wanted to protect me by pretending it was just some wild coincidence that would never happen in real life. I said his full name, and Auntie Rose frowned slightly and looked from the paper to my face and back again before saying, that spelling matches exactly." There was a short, weird silence where I could feel my heartbeat inside my ears, and I knew what this meant, but a small part of me still wanted to cling to some other explanation even though nothing logical was left. Later that day, the event planner tagged the bakery on social media, showing off the menu for the engagement party. And out of habit, I clicked the profile and started scrolling through the story highlights because my curiosity would not sit still. One of the highlights was called Proposal with a little ring emoji, and my fingertip tapped on it before I could even decide if I wanted to know what was inside or if I wanted to stay ignorant for one more day. The video started with rose petals on the floor and soft background music and candles arranged in the circle on some fancy rooftop, while a small group of people stood around filming and smiling like they already knew the answer. The camera moved slowly across the decorations and then turned toward the middle of the rooftop, where I saw Liam on one knee holding out a ring toward a woman who looked shocked and happy at the same time. She covered her mouth for a second, then nodded and pulled him into a hug while everyone around them clapped and cheered, and I watched his face carefully because I wanted to see if he looked guilty or confused or anything other than proud. He did not look guilty at all, and the caption over the video said, "She said yes, congratulations to Amelia and Liam," which made me feel like someone had just taken our whole relationship and thrown it into a shredder with a smile. I watched the video twice, not because I needed more proof, but because my brain needed time for the shock to turn into something solid that I could hold and think about without falling apart on the bakery floor. There was no more room for pretending after that because my boyfriend was engaged to another woman and I was still sharing rent and dinner and laundry with him like everything was normal and honest. The worst part was realizing I was going to be part of the team that baked and decorated desserts for his engagement party without anyone at work knowing what was happening behind my face while I nodded along. At some point, my confusion stopped feeling like a broken thing and turned into this cold, steady anger that helped me stand up straight because now I was not guessing anymore and I wanted to see how far he thought he could push this lie. When the day of the engagement party finally came, the bakery was full of noise because everyone was excited about the big order, and Auntie Rose kept saying this could put us on the map if everything turned out perfect. Nobody knew that I had not told my boyfriend I knew, and nobody guessed that the names on the order sheet belonged to the same man who left his socks on my bedroom floor and hogged the thin blanket at night. We loaded trays of cupcakes and cookies and tarts and a big engagement cake into the back of the delivery van, and my hands moved automatically while my brain felt like it was wrapped in thick cotton. When Auntie Rose said I was coming with her to help set up, I just nodded because my voice did not feel very reliable, and I was afraid I would either start crying or laughing if I tried to talk too much. The drive to the venue felt longer than it actually was, and every bump in the road made my stomach feel weird and heavy, like I had swallowed a stone, and it was just rolling around inside me with nothing soft to land on. The place they chose for the party looked like something from a movie, with tall glass windows everywhere and expensive cars lined up outside, and serious-looking security guards walking around as if they were guarding a royal family. Inside, the air smelled like roses and polished floors, and the whole setup was white and gold and soft, which made me very aware of my simple bakery uniform and my slightly worn shoes. The event planner rushed to us the second we walked in and pointed at a long decorated table where all the desserts would go, and I started arranging everything in neat rows because focusing on straight lines felt safer than thinking about Liam. My hands placed cupcakes and cookies and mini tarts in careful patterns while my brain floated slightly somewhere behind my eyes, and I tried to keep my breathing steady so I would not pass out in front of strangers. When I was lining up the last row of cookies, I heard a laugh behind me that I knew immediately without even needing to turn around because it was the same laugh that filled our tiny apartment every time he watched something stupid on his phone. The sound hit me so hard that my body forgot how to breathe for a second, and my fingers paused over the tray while I stared at the frosting like it suddenly became the most important thing in the room. One of the staff tapped my shoulder and said, "The groom wants a dessert sampler before the guests arrive. Could one of you bring it over?" Before I could even say anything, Auntie Rose smiled and said, "She will do it," nicely on a plate while trying to steady my breathing enough to walk a straight line across that shiny floor. Then I carried the plate toward the center of the room where a small group of people stood talking and laughing, and I saw him in a tux with his hand resting lightly on the back of a woman in a pretty dress. He had not seen me yet, and for one second I thought about turning around and running back to the van, but my feet kept moving and my mouth spoke before I could decide on a better plan. I walked up to their group and said, "Dessert sampler," and finally he turned fully toward me, and his face changed so fast that it almost looked like someone had pulled a rug out from under his expression. All the color drained from his cheeks and his smile disappeared, and he said my name very quietly, like he could not believe I was actually standing there in front of him with a plate of food. I looked him straight in the face and held the plate steady because the last thing I wanted was to drop anything and give him an excuse to pull me away from everyone. His fiancée kept talking for a moment without realizing anything was wrong, and she had this bright, happy look that I could see because I knew exactly how hard and fast it was about to disappear. When she finally noticed that he had gone silent, she turned toward me and asked in a friendly voice, "Who are you? Do you work full-time for the bakery or only help with special events?" I let out a short breath that sounded a little like a half laugh because the whole situation felt unreal, and I decided I was done protecting him, so I looked straight at him and asked, "Do you want to tell her, or should I?" He shook his head immediately and said, "There's nothing to tell. This is work. She is just the caterer. She is nothing to me anymore." Hearing that made my chest ache in a different way because it was not just a lie, it was disrespectful and pathetic. While we argued, his fiancée fiddled with her phone and her expression went from calm to shock, then twisted into pure horror. She raised an eyebrow and repeated, "Nothing to tell," like she already knew the answer but wanted to watch him panic. He stepped closer to her and whispered, "Do not make a scene. This is not the place," but she did not move or look away. She pulled out her phone and said, "Well, since you were so confident, let's confirm that." She turned her phone to face him. It was my Instagram account. Apparently, she had looked up the bakery on social media and found me under one of the tags. "What is this?" she said louder, holding the phone screen up to his face like she was showing evidence to a judge. His voice cracked when he said, "It is not what you think. Things got complicated. I was trying to handle everything without hurting anyone." She stared at him for a second, then slapped him so hard the sound echoed, and someone across the room gasped before pretending they were not listening. She held up the phone again and said, "This is a video of you clear as day, cuddling and sleeping in her bed. This was barely a week ago." He looked at me then like maybe I would save him or soften things, but I did not speak because there was nothing left to say. She scrolled one more time and said, "And these comments, you said you loved her. Are you serious? What is wrong with you?" He finally broke and turned to me, completely ignoring her. "I did it for us. I needed stability, and she provided that. I promised I was going to come back for you once she set me up for life. You and I were the future. I just needed time to make the switch clean." Both of us just stared at him because the sentence sounded insane spoken out loud. She stepped back from him and said, "You are unbelievable, a liar, and honestly, the most embarrassing man I've ever met." She took off her ring and placed it on the table next to the cake samples, then walked away without looking back. He turned toward me slowly with this defeated expression and said, "Please, you cannot leave me. I messed up, but we can fix it. I love you. You are the real thing. I was doing all of this for us." I just stared at him because the version of him standing in front of me was not the person I thought I knew. He reached for my arm, and I stepped back because he no longer had the right to touch me. "I'm done," I said. "Really done." I turned and walked away because I did not owe him anything. Not a hug, not forgiveness, not another chance, and not a single explanation. I could hear him sobbing in the background and the shuffles of his feet as he tried to go after me, but his best man held him back while the other guests berated him. I got into the bakery van, shut the door, and gripped the steering wheel with both hands before starting the engine because my hands would not stop shaking. The drive home felt slow and heavy, and the streets looked familiar but distant, like they belonged to another version of my life. My chest hurt in a way I cannot fully describe, and my brain kept replaying memories of the apartment, the cheap meals, and all the plans he pretended belonged to both of us. And the worst part was realizing someone I used to love could do something so calculated yet so stupid.